Hi, I'm Hazel, Solarpunk Stitches on here and on Instagram, and it's been a while. That's kind of because I haven't been doing that much cross stitch. I know, it's a serious issue here on Flosstube. I have had some things that I want to make for family and like a big event and work and stuff. So anyway, before I do that and explain the things, I just want to say a quick thank you to Anastasia, who is Anastasia Nico on Flosstube. I will put a link to her channel down there because she shouted me out and it was very nice of her. And also, if you don't watch her, you should, because she does loads of really cool, like really complicated to me designs with lots of backstitch. And she's always got lots of really bright and colourful projects, and she's living in China and talks a lot about that, which is cool. She does a lot of the Russian and Ukrainian designers. So you can get some really good recommendations for patterns of those from her. She also has a really cute cat. And I know she might be tired of being like overshadowed by the cat, but I'm sorry. It's gotta be done. So yeah, go check her out. Also, she's like just really happy and upbeat, and yeah, it's just really nice to watch. So yeah, that is her. Hi. Yeah, so not so much cross stitch to show. I've only got a few things that I've been working on since last month because I had an embroidery project, which I don't have a great photo of because I made it for my nan's 90th birthday. So well, my grandma, but I always called my dad's mum Nanny and my mum's mum Granny. So it's my nan. She's my only remaining grandparent, so that's a bit easier, I guess. But anyway, it was her 90th birthday, so we had like a family weekend, which was really nice. It was the first like family gathering for about 2 years. Well, since 2019, which yeah, since Christmas 2019, yeah. So that was really nice. Bit strange to be just like surrounded by people, but it was really nice. My cousins were there and their kids and the really adorable little sausage dog, and my aunt and uncle and my nan and my parents. So it was just like pleasant family chaos. I got monopolized by a 3-year-old for pretty much the entire weekend. So you know, that was fun. She's so bossy, this little girl. She's adorable, but like when you play with her, she's just like, come here, sit down. No, not there. Yeah, so we had fun going on bear hunts in the garden. And I made this embroidery piece for my nan. And it's from a picture of her when she first started nursing in 1949. And this is the picture. So for those of you who are either not in the UK or not aware of the history of the NHS, the National Health Service, it only started in 1948. That was when the UK put through universal healthcare and we got the National Health Service. So my nanny was in the first few years of the NHS. That's when she trained to be a nurse. And she came from quite a poor background. She had like 9 brothers and sisters, I think. They didn't have a lot of money, and her mum was like not really in favour of her going to train to be a nurse. She wanted her to go and work in a factory, but my nanny was like, no, I'm going to do it. And then she got in, she went and did it, and yeah, she's never looked back really. So yeah, she's really like dedicated, and she's achieved a lot of what she wanted to do. And I'm really proud of her that she was part of the beginning of the NHS, you know. And she really enjoyed her time nursing. And I remember her talking about in the 50s, when treatment for tuberculosis came in. And, you know, before they'd had wards, she used to work on the tuberculosis ward, which was outside on the balconies. They would have these people who, you know, wards full of these people who there was no treatment. They were just, either they were going to survive or most of them weren't. They were just going to die. And that was it. And then in the 50s, they were able to treat tuberculosis, and these wards just emptied. Just people didn't have it anymore. And then they were able to prevent it. And yeah, so like just hearing her talk about that is amazing. Yeah, anyway, so I haven't seen her for about 2 years, so that was really nice. And I decided to make this embroidery piece. Now, I've done some embroidery before, mostly of the simpler kind. I've never done what they call needle painting using long and short stitch, which is where you try and create a really realistic effect, and it's more of a flat embroidery, and you try and blend colours into each other. So that was interesting. It was kind of a stressful project for me because there was a deadline, because it's a fairly emotional project, you know, like I really want her to like this thing that I made for her. And also because it was quite challenging as a new technique for me. I want it to look realistic, and you know, normally for me this was not a relaxing project. Cross stitch is relaxing for me. This was not. It was still fun, and it was interesting. Like I enjoyed being, you know, a bit more in control of the creativity than usual. You know, like I had to draw it all out myself. So I got the photograph, I put it into a graphic design program, and I just sort of traced over it to make a vector line drawing, and then I printed that out and transferred it onto the fabric, and that was my guide. But then I had to think about the shading and, you know, where to put that and what materials to use, what colours to use. I had to choose those myself. So yeah, it's a pretty amateur attempt. It's not perfect, but I think I did pretty well for a first timer. I think it's a pretty decent amateur attempt. You can at least tell what it's meant to be. So I actually unfortunately didn't get a great picture of it, because at the time I gave it to her, I was being dragged off to play by a 3-year-old. So I was trying to be like, no, I'll be there in a minute. I'm just talking to Nanny now, or great grandma as it was for her. Yeah, and just meanwhile trying to like have this interaction while being bodily dragged off by a 3-year-old. But yeah, I think she liked it. I think she was pleased with it. So that's good. I'm happy with that. Anyway, here's the bad picture I did get. Honestly, I swear the face looks better in real life. It doesn't look so like, and I used some metallic silver thread for her watch, and the pen in her pocket, which was quite a nice touch. So that went well. But yeah, I basically didn't work. Well, I put it off for a bit because it's hard, you know. I don't want to do hard things. Even though I did enjoy it, it was just a bit but yeah, we got back yesterday, and I finally have the time to work on whatever I want, get back to my cross stitch and my knitting and things. I did do some knitting as well, because that felt less like cheating. If I was working on cross stitch, I feel like I should be doing the embroidery, but if I knit, it's a whole different ballpark. So, you know, it's not procrastination, is it? Anyway, I'm going to stop talking now and show you what I have managed to work on since the last time I made a video. So one of the first things I worked on was Mirabilia's The Dreamer. It feels like it's been ages since I worked on this, but I suppose it's only, what, 4 or 5 weeks? Anyway, this is what it looked like last time. I think I was working on it last time I did the Flosstube, and here she is now. So yeah, really starting to get some progress on her. I worked on her hair and her flower crown here, which is so pretty. I like her face is kind of really coming to life now the hair is in. I'm still loving it on this fabric. This is Evergreen by Crafty Kitten. It's a 32 count. So it just, I think it looks like she's in a garden and I love it. This is a big design. I mean, I did realise that when I started it, but yeah, it's quite big, isn't it? Oh, I matched today, kind of. So there she is. I love the colours here in her hair. I don't know how well it's coming out on the screen, but just these, they're mainly sort of white flowers and then these little purple ones in between. They just go so well together. I love it. And then I started her kind of draperies that are, I don't know if it's a blanket or a cloak or whatever that's draped over her, but anyway, it's beautiful. So that's that. Okay, then I have Death by Cross Stitch, a ongoing perennial favourite. And this one is up to 20%. I think my goal for this year was 25. Anyway, here's what it will look like. And here is where I was last time. And here we go. I always think it looks like I haven't made that much progress on this, but I mean, when you look at it compared to a few months ago, all of this has been done. So it's actually quite a lot. This is on a 40 count natural linen using a whole skein of silk from Mrs. Sadas in Spain. So I've done quite a bit more around here, and we finally got, we finished this massive part of this zigzag pattern, and we're getting onto here, and I'm actually, the edge of the design is about here, so I should be able to get to that in not too long, I hope. We'll see. This always has quite a medieval vibe to me. I've got a few more of these birds to do across the top. So I'm actually working on that one at the moment. Just enjoying cross stitching again, really. It's so nice. I probably will do some more embroidery projects in the future, but I'm gonna give it a bit of a rest before I try anything like that again, and just do some fun stuff. Yeah. I've got some time off. I have quit my boring supermarket job. For those of you in the UK, I was working at the big green supermarket. I mean, it was fine, but just boring, you know? And it was getting really busy the last few weeks, so I'm glad that I'm finished with that now. And I've got until the first week of September when I start my master's course to prepare and get lots of things done and just fun doing. Also worked on Bringer of Stars. This is a kit by RTO with artwork by Amanda Clark. I'm trying to get this finished this year sometime. And oh, this is it last time. This one I am so pleased with. Basically I finished off this whole top part here. That's completely done with the back stitching. Don't know if you can see there. And then continued the background down here. So hopefully I can get this whole half finished next time I work on it. Famous last words. I mean, we'll see. And maybe backstitch that wing as well. But this is just absolutely coming to life with every time I work on it. It's coming to life a bit more, and I just enjoy it so much. It's so much fun. It's not spooky, but it's just mystical, you know. Very kind of autumnal, yeah, enjoyable. And then the only other cross stitch thing I've worked on is my Enchanted Forest from Al Forest Embroidery. And this is just, I mean, this is always so relaxing because it's not complicated, but there's a lot of interest to it. So it's just I mean, everyone says that about Al Forest. I think that's their thing. Like, that's why people like it so much. And I made quite a bit of progress on this one. Here is it last time. Well, here it is last time. And it's basically about half done, at least, I think. But yeah, I mean, just look at that. It's so bright and colourful and happy and just folksy. Oh, I love it. So I finished this corner here, and then I did these little motifs, and I put in the sunset over the forest, which is one of my favourite motifs. And this was just so much fun to do. And yeah, I love this design so much. So yeah, I'll be shifting over. I suppose there's some geese up here, which I'm looking forward to, and then just the other half of this design. And there's lots more cute little animals and fun things and more mushrooms. Oh, love a mushroom, me. So looking forward to that. So that's actually all of my cross stitch. Do I have any cross stitch haul stash? Yeah, no, I didn't think so. I don't have anything new at the moment. I did make a purchase because I got a tax rebate a couple of days ago, which absolutely made my day. So yeah, I treated myself to a little something. That's on the way. But yeah, I don't have anything apart from that. I am going to show you my knitting. Oh, before I do. So yeah, if you're just here for cross stitch, thank you, goodbye, see you next time. If you would like to hear about my other smorgasbord of crafts, then stick around. So, I've been getting a few questions about the dress form. If you weren't here for that, I made a dressmaker's dummy using a company called Bootstrap Fashion, which you can send them your measurements and they'll send you a pattern to make your own custom dress form. And it's finished. I just need to find a stand for it, which I hopefully will this week. But yeah, it's all done. Here she is. Yeah, this is a bit weird. I feel like I'm just... This is not an X-rated episode, I promise. But I just wanted to show off this thing. It's stuffed with... I actually used wool, sheep's wool, because my boyfriend's mum had a fleece that had been washed but in the wrong way, so it wasn't really suitable for spinning, but it could definitely be used as stuffing, so that was handy, because I don't have any polyfill, and I mean it's a lot of plastic, so I didn't really want to buy any. Like, I mean, I know most people don't just have a random sheep's fleece hanging around that they can use, so you know, fair enough, but I had access to this, so I thought I'd give it a go, and it's actually worked out pretty well. Yeah, it's quite firm, which is good, so I can pin into this and it will work, and it seems to match my measurements, so yeah, I would say all told pretty good success. It just looks like I'm toting around a disembodied human torso. Which is a problematic image, but anyway, hi everyone. It's pretty good for hugs, honestly, if you need a hug. That's that. Go on, off you go. But yeah, just to update you on that project. So hopefully I can show you some works in progress on that scene. But knitting. So the big orange shawl that I was making, it's almost done. It is so close, but I've run out of yarn. Now, I don't know whether this is because this is like the third incarnation of this yarn. I've tried to make a couple other things with it, got bored, ripped it out. So I don't know if somewhere along the way I've lost some of the yarn, or if I just didn't have enough to begin with. Because I didn't, it says in the pattern to weigh your yarn, so then, because it's a easy symmetrical pattern and you can knit up to half the weight of your yarn and then start, you know, decreasing down. I didn't do that. So I've just kind of been winging it, and I have lost the game of yarn chicken, which is a time-honoured tradition. Many knitters have been there before me. So I'm going to take this opportunity because this is a hand-dyed, and I don't think I can get another skein of this, and B, I don't want to buy a whole another skein of expensive hand-dyed yarn just so I can get a little bit at the end. So I've had a look through my stash of yarns, my other projects, and I reckon I found a nice colour that I can finish this off with. So it'll just have like a nice little, an interesting little colour block at the end. Just the tip will be a different colour, which I think will actually be quite cute. It'll be quite fun. Yeah, but apart from that, I'm loving the drape of this fabric. It's beautiful. And I think that's going to be nice. But there is a catch. And the catch is that out of all of the yarn that I have, I've decided that the one I want to use to finish this off is the one that is currently in use for another project, and I absolutely cannot take that one off the needles. So this is going to need to be finished first. This is an Evenstar shawl. Now here is a picture of what this will look like when it is finished. Isn't it glorious? this is my first big circular shawl, and I mean, I love the fiddly stuff. I love lace knitting, I love beads. So this is like the perfect project for me. But I got to the border, which is beaded lace, quite heavily beaded lace. It's a knitted on border, so once you've knitted from the centre out of this big circular shawl, you then go all the way around and do the border. And it's taking forever. Like, it might be my 90th birthday by the time I finish this. It's just taking absolute eons. And I enjoy it, but it's one of those things that you can only do if you're in the mood for it, you know, because this is quite complex, fiddly stuff. And while it's a repeating pattern and, you know, I've got the hang of it and I can do it, I need a table, I need my lamp if it's the evening. I kind of need my setup in order to do it. So it's not a travel project in any way, shape or form. And it's not something you just pick up in the evening when you're a bit tired and you want an easy thing to do with your hands. So yeah, I need to finish this first. I'm so close. You're gonna see a bit of my backlog of knitting projects now from before I got into cross stitch, but let me hold that up to the light a bit so you can kind of see the pattern. I mean, it's still on the needles, but yeah, this thing is going to be absolutely gorgeous, and it's in a Fibre Spates lace weight yarn. This beautiful plum colour. Once it's all blocked and the lace is opened out, yeah, it's going to be gorgeous. I'm going to wear it absolutely everywhere and love it. I'm going to enter it into the village show. We have a village show which is mostly fruit and vegetables and flowers and stuff, but there's also cakes. They have a little craft exhibit as well. So yeah, when this is done, I think maybe next year. They haven't had it for a couple of years obviously, but hopefully next year the village show will be a go and I'll be able to enter this, and maybe this time I'll get the better of Brenda. Last time Brenda made this absolutely amazing quilt and it won first place in the crafts category, but not this time, Brenda. I think I might be the youngest person who's ever entered this. So, we'll see. Anyway, this is the colour that I want to finish off my shawl with, and I think that's going to be beautiful. But yeah, out of everything I have, this is the one I want, and this is the one that's tied up in this massive project. So yeah, there's steps to everything. So that's the plan. But for some reason, because I wasn't really feeling the lace, I started working on another one of my unfinished projects. Or another one of my close to finished knitting projects, I suppose. Which is this shawl from the knitter. Can you tell I like knitting shawls? This one, I think, it's one of those things that I really enjoy making it, but I don't think I'm going to wear it, so I'll probably give it away to one of my friends, whoever likes it, I suppose. And so it's this shawl that's on the cover of issue 122 of the Knitter magazine. This is a really good magazine. It has a lot of larger projects in, like garments and stuff, which are not that often in most of the knitting magazines, I find. So for people who, like me, who are just complicated knitting fiends, it's pretty good. The only thing I find is that most of the garments for me are not really my thing, because I like more sort of fitted jumpers, and most of these are sort of aimed at the more mature ladies, so they're not quite as shaped, which again, nothing wrong with that. And sometimes I like a nice cozy jumper as well, but I think I need to, I mean, some of them are really, really nice and I like them, it's just that I'd like them a bit more fitted, so I suppose I should just learn how to modify things a bit better. But yeah, there's some beautiful socks and shawls and things in here, and I like looking at the designs anyway. You can get this through your library if you're in the UK. You can get digital copies through your library for free. So check that out. Along with like loads of other magazines. I'm a bank librarian, so yeah, just you want to know any of the tips and tricks of the library, then I'm your girl. So it's called Hetty. It's by Penelope Hemingway. I'll put a link to her blog down below if you're interested, because she's got a lot of interesting articles on knitting history. So this is based on a pattern from from Lancashire from the 19th century for a knitted square. So you actually start making the centre square and you cast on the outside and you work inwards to make this square, and then you pick up around the square and you knit outwards, and then the border is knitted on. So I love an interesting construction. This has been really fun so far because the construction is interesting, but the actual knitting is just knit, purl, yarn over and decrease. So it's nothing actually complicated, but it's just interesting. And there are long rest rounds, so yeah, this has just been really nice to do recently. This is Drops Flora, I think, which is an alpaca and wool blend. I got it quite cheap on sale. It's really soft, it's really nice. But yeah, it's just the colours are not really what I would wear, I think. I do like them, but it's not what I personally would necessarily choose. I just got them because they were the colours that, the only colours left. And I wanted to just make something for funsies. So this is on the circular needles, so you're not really going to see the pattern very well, but actually that's quite cool on here. But there we go. I'm enjoying this. This is not too far from done, so hopefully I'll be able to finish this soon and then move on to this and then finish this. I'm not complaining. It's fun. It's my hobby. I enjoy it. I just need to get some things finished and then I can do other things. Yeah, that is it for crafting. I hope you have been interested in that. I am going to put in some clips of me spinning on the spinning wheel in case anyone's interested for that, because I showed some of the washing the 2 fleeces I've got and people were interested, so I've put in some of the processing, the carding and the spinning. So yeah, like last time, I'll just have a little vlog thing over there for you. Enjoy if you like. I am going to quickly just mention a couple of the books I've been reading, because some of the people I watch on Flosstube do that and I like it, so I'm going to do that. The first one is, and maybe it'll encourage me to finish the books I read instead of like seeing a shiny new one and just putting this down half read and then coming back 3 months later and being like, oh, I've forgotten the first part of the book. So this is News from Nowhere by William Morris, the famous 19th century aesthetic movement artist and designer. And this is like a sci-fi travelogue. So William Morris is famous for his kind of medieval and nature inspired art that was, I mean, it I suppose looks a bit sort of kind of old-fashioned or kind of flowery and Victorian to us now. or to many people. I mean, a lot of people still love William Morris. A lot of people don't. One of my friends was like, yeah, he's really boring. But I personally, I really like the Morris designs. And he was also a massive socialist, and did a lot of campaigning for that. And this book is like a utopian vision of the future, really. Like, it's his imagining of what the perfect future would be like. So, which is basically where capitalism is abolished and everyone just works for pleasure and creates beautiful things and you know, works together to help the community. And yeah. So it's he travels forward in time from the 1890s. This was published in 1890, and just kind of wanders around this utopian future, and he meets some people who sort of explain it to him and guide him around. So yeah, it's kind of sci-fi in a way, but it's a blatant self-insert. I mean, the main character of the book is called William Guest. So it's basically just like, this is about me, but in the future. And it's really interesting as a vision of the future written in 1890. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I've got my own issues with certain things that Morris believed, and like we did on Bread and Thread, he, despite all his, you know, campaigning for the rights of the workers, he thought the whole arsenic poisoning thing was nonsense, which is like, yeah, well, you were wrong about that, weren't you? And yeah, so it's a really interesting thing to think about, just this vision of the future. Yeah, and it's interesting to think, you know, what elements of this do we have now? Like, what do you think that we could still strive for? Like, what elements of his vision do you agree with, not agree with? It's, yeah, if you're into that kind of thing, it's an interesting one to look at. And the other one is Dead Souls by Nikolai Gogol. So this was 1840s, yeah. It was set in the 1840s in Russia. It was published in the 1840s, I think. Tell me if I'm wrong. And Gogol is a really funny writer. I know a lot of the great Russian writers have a bit of a reputation, perhaps undeservedly so, for being like a bit depressing. But just Gogol is really funny. If you're into like 19th century literature, this is friggin' hilarious. Honestly, it's the vague. I'm going to tell you the vague plot, which is about this low-level government official who goes around sucking up to people, like making himself really affable, really making friends with all the local dignitaries of this small town. And then he goes around buying their dead serfs. So at this period in Russia, they had a system of serfdom, which was not exactly slavery, but like similar in that the serf wasn't, like, they could be bought and sold, and they weren't allowed to move up. They were tied to the land, so like they weren't allowed to move. Yeah. Anyway, so this book is basically a bloody funny critique of that. And he, yeah, the slimy main character is basically pulling off a massive con, but none of these people realize it, and it's very wordy. He takes a long time to say something that he could have said in one short sentence, but I personally like that style of writing. So if you don't like that, then it's probably not for you. But if you do, then dig in. I'm enjoying it. It's just taking me a while to get through. So that's that. It is the end. Thank you very much for hanging around with me. I think I've managed to be a bit more concise than usual. So we'll see about that. Thank you very much for watching, whichever of the bits that you have watched. And here is some spinning, and I'll see you next time in August.